I was 10 years old the first time I dragged a shovel through the dirt with my dad, carving out a ditch behind our old barn in Tanner's Hollow, a dusty 15-acre patch in southern Nebraska we called ours since my great-grandpa claimed it after the war. The air smelled like rain-soaked earth and wild mint back then, and Dad, still wearing his faded army cap, would point at the horizon and say, "Mark, water's got a memory guide it right, and it'll feed you forever." That ditch, that humble little trench, wasn't just some farm core, it was our lifeblood, keeping our sorghum green, our neighbors' wheat alive. Hell, keeping the whole valley from turning to dust. Fast forward to my 30s. I'm back from a stint with the Army Corps of Engineers, 2 tours in Central America building dams, another in Iraq fixing shot-up water systems. I'd seen what happens when water gets ignored. Fields die. Towns fight. People lose everything. When Dad passed hard, gave out during a barley harvest, I came home, inherited the land, and got to work. I upgraded the old trench, filed the paperwork, got the county to sign off on a legal easement complete with flow charts and flood protocols. Everything was locked in, stamped, official. Nobody batted an eye back then. Tanner's Hollow was just farms and open sky. But then the suits showed up. By 2018, developers started sniffing around, eyes gleaming like they'd found gold in our dirt. Before I knew it, Willow Crest Estates sprouted up next door, big iron gates, fake stone fountains, houses with 4-car garages and lawns that screamed, "We don't belong here." The HOA came with it, led by Deborah Stiles, a real estate shark with a smile sharp enough to cut glass. They didn't like the look of my trench, called it an eyesore, a mosquito trap. I got invited to one of their shiny clubhouse meetings, and there's Deborah peering over her designer glasses saying, "Mark, this open ditch is dragging down our property value. You just, I don't know, pipe it underground?" I held my cool, laid out the engineering maps, explained how that trench kept their fancy homes from flooding every spring. She gave me that smile, the kind that says, "I'm not listening, but I'll pretend." I left them copies of the easement. They didn't care. Things got quiet for a while, but I started finding notes taped to my gate. Non-compliant fencing. No farm equipment after 7 p.m. Standing water violates health codes. Little jabs like they were testing how much I'd bent. Then one morning, I'm checking the valve pressure when I hear engines roaring. 2 bulldozers, right on my land, tearing into the trench. I ran up, waving like a madman, yelling at the driver, some kid with earbuds who shrugs and says, "HOA orders, man, talk to them." I pointed at the survey marker, a concrete post I'd set myself, and growled, "This is my land, kid. You're trespassing." He just pointed at his work order. I snapped photos, equipment, plates, everything in, called the sheriff. "Civil matter," they said. "City Hall?" Permits were filed. By who? Turns out, the HOA used a doctored map, some old sketch from the 70s that didn't show my trench or easement. They were building on a lie, pouring concrete over my family's work like it was nothing. I stood there the next day, staring at the mess, broken pipes, my dad's old brass valve with Tanner scratched into it, tossed in the dirt like trash. 2 HOA guys in khakis strolled up, one clutching a clipboard like it gave him authority. "Sir, you're in a restricted zone, safety reasons," he says, all smug. I held up the valve, voice low. "This restricted zone fed your lawns for decades. You just killed it." He smirked. "Progress, Mr. Tanner. You should try it." I walked away before I did something stupid, but that night I dug through my records, deeds, permits, soil surveys. All valid. Then I found it. A 1999 FEMA grant tied to our trench, saying it couldn't be touched without state approval. They'd screwed up big. I called up Ray Coleman, an old buddy from the Corps, a hydrologist who owed me one. He showed up with a drone and a scanner, and we spent 3 days mapping the damage-blocked runoff, pooling water, elevation shifts. The data was brutal. Meanwhile, the HOA kept building, framing houses like nothing was wrong. I sent them a cease and desist, filed a county motion, even tipped off the local paper. No dice. Then they got personal, sent me a letter accusing me of obstructing progress, called me unstable, said my trench was decorative. Decorative. That word hit like a slap. My dad didn't break his back for decoration. I didn't spend years learning water systems to be called a liar. Then the rains came. Not a storm, just a steady, stubborn drizzle for 4 days. By day 3, Willow Crest streets were rivers. Day 4, their park was a swamp. Homeowners waded through knee-deep muck, cursing, while Deborah sent out emails about unexpected weather. I watched from my porch as her SUV splashed by, phone glued to her ear. The city sent engineers, one young guy who looked at my trench map and went pale. "This was active?" he asked. "Till they buried it," I said. He shook his head, muttering about calling it in. That night, Ray called. "Mark, you still got mineral rights?" I froze. I'd forgotten Dad split the land in '79, kept the subsurface rights, including water flow. That meant every house they built was on shaky legal ground. Game changer. The community started waking up. A teacher, Lisa Harper, showed up at my door with a jug of cloudy tap water and a dead garden. "This used to be clear," she said. I gave her my files, and her blog post, "The Cost of Willow Crest," went viral. Farmers like Old Man Jenkins, whose well turned to sludge, started signing my petition. We met at the fire station, projecting Ray's drone footage water pooling where my trench used to drain. By the next week, we had 60 signatures, enough for a county hearing. The HOA fought back with a glossy newsletter, mocking me as Captain Ditch, complete with a cartoon of me in a tinfoil hat. Online, trolls called me anti-progress, posted fake videos blaming my land for the floods. It stung, but I kept going. Then a county clerk slipped me a bombshell, a log showing the HOA's consultant had erased my trench from the GIS database 6 months back. I sent it to my lawyer, Ellen Price, who laughed and said, "They're done." In court, we laid it all out: mineral rights, tampered maps, FEMA clauses. The HOA's lawyer, some slick guy named Greg Voss, called me nostalgic, said the trench was obsolete. But we had Brian, their own maintenance guy, testifying about ignored leaks and faked reports. He looked at the jury and said, "My kid's coughing from mold." I had to speak up. The room went quiet. I told them about Dad, about saving orchards, about neighbors who sandbagged with me in '06. "It's not just a ditch," I said. "It's memory." The jury got it. They ruled for methyl injunction, trench restoration, fines for the board. Deborah's face went gray. She held a press conference, looking like she'd aged a decade. "I apologized to Mark Tanner and the community," she said, voice cracking. "We ignored warnings. We failed." She stepped away, and I didn't cheer. I just watched. The trench came back, slow but sure. County crews dug it out, found Dad's old pipe, still solid. I mounted it on my porch. Lisa's school kids came by, one asking if the pipe was treasure. "Yeah," I said, "it is." The barley grew again, green and strong. The town started healing. Neighbors shared cider by the trench. Brian's daughters drew pictures of flowing water. Deborah left town. I didn't hate her. She forgot the land's rules, and it taught her the hard way. They built a little bridge over the trench. No plaque, just wood and purpose. At dusk, I stand there, listening to the water hum below, like it's whispering back to me. It's not about winning, it's about what lasts. The land doesn't forget, and neither will we. So what do you think? Was I right to fight, or should I have let it go? Drop a comment. Tell me your take. Have you ever faced a fight like this, where the truth was buried under someone else's plans?